治療ありがとう。
お主の真心に感謝する。豪華一戦。切り裂いてやる。
Armored Yachiyo is a 5-star flame blade unit, introduced along with Saiga in the shadow of the Mukuroshu defensive event. Her appearance as well as Saiga's persuaded me enough to try to roll for them after saving up gacha currencies for a very long time. As a unit, it would seem that she is definitely a force strike focused unit, reminding me of another unit with heavy force strike focus, a Sylvan Shadow Blade unit named Linear. Both units have relatively similar kits, yet they also share glaring differences. Enough of Linear right now, as we'll now check out Yachiyo's kit, and find out if she performs well as a force strike focused unit. Her first skill, Peerless Eternity, costs 2710 SP. It activates the Peerless Flourish effect, which powers up Yachiyo's next 3 force strikes, which also deal extra damage to enemies afflicted with Scorch Rend. Right off the bat, her first skill strengthens her force strikes, and the amount of strengthening provided is quite high, with a maximum modifier of 415% of maximum force strike charge. The relatively low cost also means that Yachiyo may be able to reactivate this skill almost immediately after unleashing all 3 powered up force strikes, as the powered up force strikes also have increased SP gain. Overall, this skill is definitely useful as one of the major element of her force strike focus kit. Her second skill, Blossom Dance, costs 5460 SP. It deals a total of 2314% damage towards enemies, separated by 3 sets of different hit count and damage dealt. This skill also inflicts Scorch Rend towards enemies, and grants the user knockback immunity for 15 seconds. This skill definitely helps with her force strikes, as the Scorch Rend it inflicts works well with the Scorch Rend Punisher of Peerless Flourish from her skill 1. The knockback immunity will be important for her unique ability, which we'll look into later. The SP cost of this skill is average, but isn't excessively high to the point of preventing Peerless Flourish to provide the maximum force strike strengthening to Yachiyo. Overall, this skill synchronizes with both her force strikes and her unique ability, and also has decent damage output and acceptable SP cost. Yachiyo's co-abilities are the typical set, with the standard strength increase and a not so useful Scorch Rend equals win resist increase. For abilities, her unique ability is Unrelenting Blade. For every 15 seconds without getting knockbacked, Yachiyo gets a 20% strength increase, which can stack up to 3 times. When she gets knockbacked, all stacks will be lost. This ability also gives Yachiyo a unique force strike with 2 charge levels. This force strike can dispel 1 enemy buff when her combo is 15 or higher, and allows her to be immune to knockback when charging. The damage modifier on her force strikes is higher than the normal blade force strike, with the stats as shown in this table. In this other table, the damage modifier significantly increase after activating her first skill, which power up her next 3 force strikes. This ability encourages the frequent use of force strikes, not only due to their power, but also due to the dispelling ability and knockback resistance, which can help increase strength. Overall, it's a great ability that causes her playstyle to differ from other blade units. Her 100% stun resist is great for most Winner 2 endgame content, since she doesn't have to worry about high Majards or Matrials, which inflicts stun. Her last ability is 50% force strike damage, further strengthening her force strikes, and fortifying her playstyle. As a force strike focus unit, Yachiyo would want to dish out force strikes as much as possible. Her very high force strike damage modifiers definitely warrant 4 force strike damage. Striking haste can also be used to take advantage of the frequent force strike usage, to charge her skills faster, allowing for increased force strike damage from her skill 1 and skill 2. As force strikes also chip away the overdrive bar, Gauge Accelerator is another excellent choice. Other offensive abilities are also applicable, but not with any flurry based abilities, as she cannot rack up a high combo count frequently. For her weapons, the turfing is of course great, without much question. Its strength increase and combo time are definitely useful, the former further boosting her damage, the latter compensating for her low combo count from her force strike focus play. Blinding Conflagration is another good weapon, and as usual, any of your best flame blade you have will suit her just fine. For her dragons, I'll not include Sakuya, as skill damage isn't gonna help Yachiyo much. Force strike dragons are definitely the choice, with the ones available in the flame element are Gozuteno and Dread King Rattalus. Mars and Reborn Oni are also great dragons that can fit in any offense character. Arctis is good for more crit damage, especially when paired with a high crit rate build. More budget options include Ini, Cerberus, and Prometheus. I say budget, because they are farmable, and are generally replaceable by more powerful offensive flame dragons. For her Wimprints, these are what I will equip on Yachiyo. Yachiyo is definitely a force strike monster in this regard. When compared to Linnea, who is also a force strike monster, Yachiyo has higher base modifiers on her force strikes, and has more utility. The knockback resistance present on both of them is more accessible to Yachiyo as it is her ability, instead of being on a skill like Linnea. In terms of total damage, Yachiyo may also have an edge, as the force strike buff in her skill lasts longer, and also due to the fact that she can make use of the Scorch Rend Punisher as she herself can inflict Scorch Rend. In terms of equipment available, the Shadow Element does not have force strike dragons, while the Flame Element already has 2. Of course, even with her strengths, Yachiyo also has a weakness. Her playstyle will severely affect her combo count, as she has to charge her force strikes. Overall, Yachiyo is definitely a great unit to have in a team, and a great addition to the group of force strike focus units. Now go out there, and expect a continued story on the Muku Roshu, which actually started earlier this year during the Lunar New Year event. That's all from me. Moga out.